Just how big of a deal is the end of the Masson dispute for the Washington Nationals? 20 plus years this news has been in the making that the Nats, who have never controlled their TV rights but always wanted to, have a resolution in place with the Orioles. Agreement the two teams had all along, had the O's hold in the Nats purse strings on the TV deal. And now it's been resolved once and for all. The Nats will play a final year of games on Masson in 2025 and then hit free agency to go find a new TV home, whether that's at Monumental Sports Network in town, where they can make the money off of the deal themselves without the Orioles getting involved, or maybe Major League Baseball continues to dip its finger into the pie. They've been doing that with the clubs that have had RSN issues all over the sport. But Danny, it's hard to not think about this as just an absolute game changer for this organization. Based on how it's been sold to us over the years from the club, from ownership, from the organization, in terms of being so limiting, so debilitating. Like, you can't say for 20 years, this is the noose wrapped around your neck. This is what keeps you from being and what you want to be. This is, and they haven't come out and said it verbally, but they've floated that. Enough reporters have done that bidding that it's obviously been something that is preventative and nerve-wracking for them. They're afraid to go spend money because they don't feel like they've got enough coming in. Well, if that's the case, this should all change moving forward. At the least, let's say they want to keep owning the team. They spend more. There's a better TV network broadcasting their games, and you can start streaming Nats games direct to consumer, which would be amazing. That's the worst case of all of this.
That's right.
The best case is either a sale, that they're back on the market, or this ownership group just says, all right, we're going to be making $20 million a year, because the report from Forbes today is now they're looking to sell their stadium rights. Now they're looking to put a sponsor on their jersey. That $20 million plus $200+ million that they're getting in the resolution of this deal, plus now having their own TV deal where they're making money. Let's go sign some players and be a real life Major League Baseball player again.
Yeah, with operating cash coming in. I mean, everyone likes to say, like, they're billionaires. So what's supposed to happen is they're going to go into their personal checking account and start writing checks for their business. That's never been realistic. The business is supposed to sustain and take care of itself. Operating cash will be coming in. You're doing the same thing you were doing before. Let's say you and I are doing a radio show. If all of a sudden sponsorship levels go up by $10 million, $20 million, $30 million, the station, everybody feels it. It's good for everyone, right? You're taking off those. It's like trying to run a 100-meter race with lead underpants on while someone's pushing you in the opposite direction. We're trying to keep up with some of the haves in this league. So, yeah, I to that degree, I've always had a little bit of empathy there. Now, again, it doesn't absolve a lot of the behavior from this ownership group and by extension, the organization, but it explains some of it, right? And now you're removing that obstacle. I mean, this again, is a path to normalcy. And the people I'm happiest for, honestly, in all this are the fans. Like, as baseball was trying to be reintroduced here, after this giant gap that happened when the Senators left in the 70s, you missed generations of baseball fans who either gave up on it altogether, went to Baltimore, or something in between. Grandfathers take fathers who take sons and daughters and the whole nine yards. You need to grow up in having all the right stuff to really introduce this thing. You get used to the ebbs and flows, to the ups and downs, your team ramps up, gets really good, takes a shot, then it gets bad, and you kind of ride the roller coaster again. We've been robbed of those things in a lot of ways in terms of the coverage. A real, honest-to-God flagship baseball network should be a prerequisite. It should be normal and not something that's bare bones more so every year that didn't send people on the road immediately after COVID for live broadcasts and had technical issues. That's not what should be happening. It should be the opposite of that. And now this opens the path to that. And my hope is that everybody gets to experience what it's like. If you've lived in other cities, when you turn on that network that's dedicated to that baseball organization, yeah, it's a little bit of the feel-good propaganda for a 100-loss team, but you're getting to know the players. You're getting those deep dives.
Two things. First, I'm glad you said that, and I'm not trying to be a jerk to you, but there is a little bit of double talk from a lot of people, and I'm going to throw you into the mix here, because people make fun of Monumental all the time, who do this with their network.
Sure.
Right? Now, I happen to be a part of their Capitals coverage, so I will just acknowledge my
involvement,
in this. But the Capitals are really good, and I have never once been told to pull a punch. I used to be on pre and post every single night. We would do post for face-off and overtime. They don't do those shows anymore. They're just post-COVID, they have not had as much programming around the games and spent the same amount. But I now do these alt casts. And we're talking about 7, 8, 9 games or whatever it is a year that I'll end up doing this year, maybe 10 games. So it's not like I'm heavily involved and I'm not an employee necessarily. They bring me in from outside. But nobody tells me, we can't say that. You can't say that. Oh, you shouldn't be mean about this player or that player. I mean, we were on the alt cast the other day, me and Tarek El-Bashir, who is actually an employee of Monumental, and we're going through all the players and who can be traded and who's had a disappointed year and they got to get more out of Mangiapane, and nobody's getting in my ear saying, don't say that. I will say that the Wizards, who are terrible as a team, you're going to get a lot more of what feels like that programming. And I'm not blaming the guys that do it. My buddies, whether it's Chris Miller or Wes Hall or Drew Gooden or Grievous Vasquez or anybody, Consor.
Sure.
But on your own network, like I'm a Wizards fan, I don't want to tune in and hear them bashed all the time. But you are also kind of, at times, they just lost by 20, and it's like, can you believe this guy scored 11 points? How amazing is that? The cool thing with getting to cover the Capitals, and this is where I'm lucky, they've pretty much been awesome all along. There's not a whole lot of pulling punches when the team's making the playoffs every year. Obi's hunting down Gretzky. But I say all this to say they take some flack for that. And I do think there is an acknowledgement with the Nats that it would be awesome to have more of that. And it's the same people sometimes. It's like, so you want the programming and you want to hear about your team, but then we have that for the Caps and the Wiz, and people are like, oh, I hate the in-house stuff that's owned by the team. And you see what I'm saying? Like,
that's fair enough. But my point is, like, the broadcast rights, like if the Nats own it, I don't love that. But a normal network, let's say it's a TV network.
So you want the perfect world of, like,
I love that.
Yes, that was not a good example because the Yankees are involved. But yeah, and it's funny we can't even think of them because it's no longer the case.
Right, it's not normal, and I understand that. I mean, the thing that's perfect is, I don't know that that's going to exist
bygone
anymore.
Era.
And
the next best thing is the team's owning it.
Or the next best thing is something. Not Ian Desmond had 2 hits in 2013 on a random regular season game, and Nats Classic in the offseason. There should be programming.
My point is always, who's spending money?
Right.
That's who I want owning things. You've got, right now, as an example, Masson has cut back on pregame and postgame. They don't really have official pregame and postgame shows. Now, they do 10 or 12 minutes beforehand, and it works the same way. But it's whoever's calling play-by-play or Colco or whatever, and they do 10 minutes to get you ready for first pitch. And then after, the sideline reporter or the play-by-play guy will go through the highlights. It's basically like a shorter, non-official pre and post, right? Whereas on Monumental, they've got Alan May and Alexa Landis, and you got 35, 40 minutes of post-game, and you're getting your half hour of pregame, and then they're trying these alt casts, and they are trying things.
Yes.
Like, I like that. I understand that people don't want the teams owning it. I totally get that. But what I care about is, like, who is investing energy, time, and effort? But to this point, we have never had a network that actually just promoted the Nationals and tried to grow fandom.
Yep.
It would be amazing to finally have that, and I think we will. And that's not even at the top of my priority list. I guess my number one priority, because it's so easy and should have been done 10 years ago, is give me direct-to-consumer packaging.
Yes.
I, right now, this moment, don't know how I'm going to watch their games this year. I have cut the cord once and for all after years and years of pausing DirecTV, then bringing it back, then pausing it, then bringing it back. As of this moment, I don't have DirecTV. Do I bring it back? I guess it's possible I could do that. I don't want to do that. I have YouTube TV right now. I cannot get Nationals games. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I've got to figure something out. What should happen is I should just be able to pay $400 or whatever the hell you want me to. I will pay it.
Whatever you want me to do.
Let me know where to go, how far I got to drive, and how I sign up, because I will do it, and just get your games available on an app on my TV. They don't have that right now.
That's right.
They're one of the only teams in the sport that doesn't. They will next year. You know who has that is Monumental. You know who has that is almost every network that's worth it.
And that's kind of the point. All I want is better. I mean, my utopia would be amazing. I know that's not realistic anymore because that model is all but gone. My point is, I can't do the Nats are at spring training right now, and there's no spring training coverage content on that television network. There's none. You can't get the games, which is outrageous. There's
such a good point.
One a month.
What is our spring training television coverage?
Again, it's a special occasion when it happens. That's outrageous. It's outrageous. Outrageous.
It's becoming more and more the norm everywhere, for the record.
Where is my
really bad here.
Yeah, where is my here's who's standing out at camp. Here's my nightly Nats report. Here's the spring training daily diary. This is who threw today. This is why. This is the schedule. This is who's in line to start opening day. They don't have the normal run of things to get people interested. There's roughly half the subscribers to Masson there were 5 years ago. Half. It's down from 6 million down to less than 3 million at this point. It ain't trending in the right direction, and there's a reason for it, right? You don't do that stuff. It needs to be. This is a growing time when you're trying to get kids and future generations of fans that will fill your coffers invested, and there's a shrinking. The timing sucks for them to get their own network now when the RSNs are dying, but this is still such a great opportunity. Just if it's normal behavior, you're going to do so much more for this organization.
Just give me the games on streams. Yes. That's what I'm asking for. But the possibilities are way bigger than that. Richard's in Manassas. What's up, Richard?
Hey, how you guys doing? Grant, you're pretty in tune with MLB. I'm curious, and I know this has just happened, but is there any immediate whispering about maybe Ted pushing all in so he can get them part of Monumental?
Well, look, it's a game changer in that regard, too. The question is, will the learners want to sell or not? Are they fully locked back in on owning this team to the point where they do not want to sell, or will they be interested in going back to market? One of the hurdles for Ted Leonsis buying the team in the past was, as long as the Masson deal existed, his interest was going to be limited, in my opinion, because he owns Monumental Sports. He doesn't want the games on Masson. He wants the games on Monumental Sports. Well, now he will have that ability as an owner, and so his interest would be far greater, I would imagine. How much more money would he offer than what didn't get it done in 2022? Can't answer that. Are the learners willing to sell? That's the big question, in my opinion.
Right.
That's the couple $2 billion question at this point. But the other thing I would say in terms of Leonsis is, do you want to own the team if you can just get the TV rights without owning the team? I don't know about that.
That's a great question.
With the Wizards, with the Capitals, with the Mystics, with all those teams, he's got all of it and both. And I think you want that. You want the rights and the team and the network. And I would imagine that would be his preference. But if it's super complicated or they make it really hard, when do you throw your hands up and say, okay, well, we'll just air all the games and use it as a functional, operational way to do more and give our consumers more, even if I don't have the team. But yeah, is there a better chance that Ted Leonsis would try to buy them again today than a week ago? In my opinion, the answer to that's categorically yes.
I would say so. Yeah, well, there's no clarity. How can you offer the max at what the market might dictate when you have no idea? If you're basically going, you own the team and you inherit this legal battle that will never die. Enjoy that.